Alex Hormozi uses content marketing to generate literally zillions of leads across his portfolio companies without lifting a finger. And I've spent the last week reverse engineering Hormozi's exact content strategy by analyzing over 20 to 30 hours of his content and boiled it down to 5 easy to follow steps. This is the same strategy that saved his company Gym Launch from bleeding out and propelled him to 9 figures. And on the 5th step, I'm going to go over his anti-funnel framework that actually generates him millions behind the scenes of the whole entire strategy. So let's dive right into it, how this man plus these platforms makes him a ton of money. At the top level, I just want you to understand I'm not making any of this up. This is all pulled directly from Hormozi's videos himself or from interviews with Hormozi, genuinely over 20 to 30 hours worth of content. And there's a 5-step system, the first one being capture. All Hormozi does at the end of the day is records one long form video per week. He doesn't brainstorm any of the content. He literally just looks at what he's been doing on a day-to-day basis, what he's talked to Layla about, and everything along the lines of what's happening in his business and documents what's happening. After step 1, he just clips his videos, but he does it in a little bit nuanced way compared to a lot of other people. When he clips, he takes this one recording and converts it into 20 to 100, 60 or 30-second clips. But instead of just randomly clipping everything he does, he first looks at his target market. What you can do here is literally just take the transcript of your long form video, put it into ChatGPT, and tell it to find 30 to 60-second segments that highlight or answer your target market's pain points. That way, once you know your target market's pain points, you can literally solve all of their problems and then frame your video, your 60-second clips, as solutions to all of their problems. That way, every single clip is providing a ton of value to his audience. And so now you have reframed clips and a long form video, but you have to actually distribute effectively. And instead of using like an auto scheduler or something like Hype Fury to post across a bunch of different platforms, he posts natively on every single platform that he goes on. And the reason he does that is if you look at each individual platform, so for example, Instagram versus YouTube, different platforms optimize for different things. And so for example, maybe on Instagram, you need bold captions and you need tighter pacing, whereas on YouTube Shorts, you have to prioritize things like thumbnails and having your title embedded into the video. Or on Twitter, you might need to put out a thread rather than a video. And so posting natively makes sure that your content is optimized for every single platform that it goes on. And the reason he actually cares about this, because you might think, hey, like this doesn't really matter because how much of a difference can it make? You're missing the whole point. All he cares about is posting value and posting volume. And so when you have a ton of volume on every single platform, results are going to compound. And so as a result, he wants to make sure that all these small differences are put in place correctly so that when results do compound, they compound in his favor. Step 4, after you've distributed onto all of these platforms, is iterating. And honestly, this process seems super simple, but people do not follow it. If it works, so the content is going viral and it's pulling in leads, you just do more. And if it does not do well, you don't do it at all. And the reason this works is because he posts with a lot of volume and he tests super fast. And what he's actually testing for is watch time. The reason he cares for watch time rather than like click-through rates or stuff like that is watch time actually leads to clients. Retention and nurturing leads to people that actually pay him. Clicking on a video for 1 second and then clicking off never brings him any money. And so as a result, what you have to do here is analyze when you post about certain topics, which topics do really well, which don't, and you just do more of what works, but you remix it. So maybe you take a YouTube video and you make it into a Twitter thread, or maybe you make a Twitter thread into a TikTok, or a TikTok into a YouTube short. You do everything along those lines and you simply find what works with your audience by testing. He doesn't have a secret strategy. He just tests more than you. That's it. And lastly, step 5 is his funnel. His funnel actually isn't a funnel. He just gives away free value. The videos themselves do all of the warming up, and the link in his bio leads to a book or a free value magnet. And the form attached to the book qualifies them for acquisition.com, which obviously is his highest ticket product, is what he's actually leading people to. To be honest, I don't know his back end. Maybe there's something even higher ticket. But for this example, he leads them to a piece of value that then qualifies him for his main offer. It's just a funnel disguised as free education, and it works because the audience trusts Alex so much because he's given away so much value that he doesn't need to sell them in the midst of a really complex funnel. If we summarize all of this up, this is why it all works. He tests a lot lot. There's a lot of volume, and he gives a lot of value. When you combine volume with value, the math equation equals cash money. That is literally all you have to do. Test a lot and actually provide value to your audience. If you wouldn't watch your video, or if you wouldn't get value out of what you're posting, assuming you are also in your ICP or your target market, why would anyone else do it? You really have to think about it from the lens of the consumer. With all of this being said, that's how Alex Hormozi creates dozens of millions of leads through his content. And with that being said, there's one last step of you actually taking the people or the leads generated from content and turning them into actual clientele. And in that video over there on the top right, I believe, you'll see a video of me going over Dan Bolton's funnel. And he explains how to basically take all of the leads you get and convert them into clientele, and makes hundreds of thousands of dollars per month doing it with no ads and no sales calls. So if you're interested on the back end of that type of funnel, you can check out the video up there. I appreciate you guys watching. And if you haven't already, go follow me on Instagram and DM me if you want help scaling your own info product. All right, bye guys.